Luxolo. We are live. I'm struggling to get Luxolo there. Good morning to you and yours, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the feature, rather. We call this Clinical Monday, every Monday right here on Aura Pop in Chats. This is where we get to sit down with our clinician and get to dissect yet another clinical topic. And today we are doing just that on my chair of guests, or rather my guest this morning. Our clinicians, two of our clinicians from two of our favorite sites. We have Sister Benedictor Nhlapho coming all the way from Aura Pop in Ehlanzeni, and we have Luxolo Shikota from Aura Pop in Ekurhuleni, which I think today they're experiencing a bit of technicalities with that. So I don't know if Luxolo can hear me. Luxolo, I'm trying to recover you there, buddy. I don't know if you can hear me now. Luxolo? I hear you moving, or I see that you are moving, but I definitely cannot hear you. Happy, I don't know how we can sort out that. Hey, can you hear me? No? No. Ooh. You still can't hear me. All right. Can we... Luxolo, can you hear me? No. Okay, I think Luxolo will join the conversation as we go along. But for your conversations and comments, or rather for your questions and comments for this particular conversation, you can send them through on Facebook page on the comment section below. Like I said, today we're discussing circumcision and STI. What is the relation between the two? What is it that we know? We will try to get an understanding of that with this conversation. And you can certainly share some of your experiences that you've had, pre-circumcision and post-circumcision, or if you've had an STI, through that process. And what are some of your, highlights, maybe, when it comes to information, when it comes to circumcision and STI? To help us understand that, like I said, we're joined by Nhlapho Shikota from Aura Pop in Ekurhuleni, which we are struggling with him there. I hope that Happy is able to hear us. He's gone, so we hope that when he comes back, we'll have a better line with that. And Sister Benedictor and Nhlapho from Aura Pop in Ehlanzeni. Sister B, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Happy Monday. How are you feeling?
Hi, V. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And how are you?
Good. I'm great. It was great seeing you this weekend on your launch of Under My Umbrella. I really, thoroughly enjoyed the dialogue that you had with us in terms of understanding what PrEP is, the ED PrEP, also with PrEP. We really appreciate you doing that. And I hope that you guys had a nice day further after we left, because also the weather, oh my God. But I hope that you guys had a blast while we're gone.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I think while we're trying to get Luxolo, he did say, when we were preparing for this chat, that he has a bit of technical difficulties because they don't have what is power, what do you call this? It's load shedding where he is. So he'll just dip in and out. So I think you and I can keep this conversation while he comes back. Well, he's here. Let's see if he can hear us. Luxolo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, V.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. I know you said you have technicalities there, but I appreciate you joining. And how are you feeling this Monday?
I'm feeling good, and you?
I'm amazing that you are here. So let's just jump straight into the conversation. Two of our favorite clinicians are here to speak about circumcision and STI. I'll start with you, Luxolo. I think, from a male body, or from a male anatomy, I don't think that's the right English, but from a male body to another, you will be the best one to answer this. In simple terms, when you talk about circumcision, what are we talking about? What is the procedure, or what is the process? What is circumcision in simple terms?
Circumcision, like, basically the surgical removal of the foreskin which means the skin that is covering the penis, the tip of the penis. That is circumcision.
So I lost you there a bit. Can you repeat that? I think it's my network that's doing the dancing. But go ahead and try the point again. Luxolo. I don't know if understanding what circumcision is in layman's term, what is it? Hmm. Looks like I'm losing all of you guys all at once. All right, let's do this. Happy, can we take them off the stream and then they join back again, guys? I'm gonna kick you out and then he will join in again as we try to reestablish that. I think the network today is just having a blue Monday because I cannot hear anything. And I don't know if you have a clear connection on that side. So let's try the jumping in and the jumping out. But in the meantime, while we do that, let me quickly remind you what happened this weekend. By the way, thank you so much to everybody that has joined us for the Under My Umbrella campaign launch. We launched it out at Harmony Hill at Sabi in Ehlanzeni. This is in Mpumalanga. This was the Oram Pop in Ehlanzeni's leg of the campaign they launched. And thank you to everybody that came through. We got dialogue, interaction there. My sister be explaining to us what ED prep is and the difference between ED prep and daily prep, and also because some questions came through read about viral loads and prep and how it's used and actually how to get your viral load down and what are the benefits thereof. So we got that done. So thank you so much for everybody that came through. The campaigns are still going on, or rather the launch is still going on. We're still forecasting and looking forward to Tshwane launching their own. And also Ekurhuleni, Tegwini and Umgurundlovu launching their own. So we cannot wait for that. So I don't know if Sister B is moving a bit. So I think Sister B, I can hear Sister B. Just indicate if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Brian. I'm losing you.
Yeah, the network there is a bit funny. But I was asking Luxolo in simple terms, what is circumcision? And then he was trying to elaborate that point, but we lost him there. So do you mind taking that question and explaining to us what circumcision is?
Okay. Circumcision is a surgical procedure that removes foreskin. So it can be done medically, it can be done also traditionally.
I got you. All right, and maybe perhaps let's touch on the risk of not being circumcised, because there is a relationship between HIV and men who are not circumcised in terms of risk. I think we sort of like understand that, or we've been told that throughout. But perhaps maybe what are the risks of not being circumcised? Take us through that.
Okay, is this for me or for Luxolo?
It's for you. I don't know if Luxolo is able to answer, but take this one. He'll take the second question.
All right. So there are definitely risks with not being circumcised. So not being circumcised increases the chances of HIV infection. It also increases the chances of STI infections, other STIs infections. Also the chances of penile cancer. For instance, an uncircumcised male can also pass on the HPV virus if infected with HPV virus to their female partner. And HPV virus to a female partner, it causes cervical cancer. So in a way, they're also predisposing their female partners to cervical cancer. Also with it also causes paraphimosis, phimosis and paraphimosis, which is the tightening, like the tightening of the foreskin, which could also cause restriction in blood flow. The yeast infection is commonly in females, very not so common in males, but it's also possible with uncircumcised males, and also the possible risk of injury as well. I have witnessed, a foreskin where it was stuck in a zipper, a pant zipper. So those injuries also there. So it's a whole lot of risk, STIs, HIV infection, yeast bacterial infections as well, and also the penile cancer and the injury can happen.
I got you. I got you. I think in terms of the tightening of the foreskin, we really don't know about that. Well, personally, I don't know about that. I wanted to ask how common are they, but let's take the question to Luxolo. Luxolo, Sister B just indicated some of the risks that one, would potentially go through if they're not circumcised. How common are those risks actually? Because there are people who would say, I don't want to get circumcised because it's a traditional thing, or, it's even like it, we don't go to the mountains, or we don't even do it medically. But, how common would they experience those risks, or how common are those risks that Sister B has just mentioned? Luxolo. Sister B, it looks like it's going to be a conversation, just the two of us here. But let's take the question to you. How common are the risks? How do we? Yeah, actually, how common are they?
With the injuries and the balanitis, the paraphimosis. So those risks for circumcised individuals, they can't be exposed to that because the foreskin is not there. But then with the STIs and HIV, anyone can have STIs, anyone can contract HIV. But then with uncircumcised individuals, the risk is even more higher. So it's I can say it's more common with uncircumcised lions because their risk is increased compared to the circumcised ones.
Yeah. I like how you guys interpreted the theme of play safe for the Under My Umbrella campaign, bringing in games, bringing in conversations in terms of PrEP and how to take PrEP and how to use PrEP between daily and ED PrEP. The theme there came through of playing it safe. But in terms of people that are circumcised, or rather, how do we need to stay safe if not circumcised? Because I think we are prone to risk of getting all those risks, all those common infections that you just mentioned. So in terms of playing safe and not being circumcised, and it could be because of various reasons why people don't want to get circumcised. How do we do that? How do we play safe if we're not circumcised?
Okay. Condom usage is always the key, whether circumcised or not. Condom usage, and also regular change of underwears. With uncircumcised lines, those sweats, the bacteria from sweat, it also cause the infection on the foreskin. The daily hygiene as well is very important, where they have to clean under the foreskin, not just on generally on top, also the foreskin. So they pull back the foreskin and clean under the foreskin as well. And advisably with water, just warm water and soap, avoiding areas, avoiding, perfumed stuff on that in that area because the skin is quite sensitive. So it gets irritated easily.
Somebody would, in terms of cleaning, they will tell you about the pH, and I think if it was not last week, it was the week before that, we were then talking something similarly well, it was related to the anus or the anus, and we were in that conversation the vaginal sex came through, and we just spoke about hygiene, and somebody spoke about the pH balance of the vagina. So I'm trying to think if with the penis we would have the same thing in terms of the pH balance of the skin around the penile area. Especially if not circumcised. Does it get to change if we use maybe harsher soaps or harsher products, that maybe have perfume or certain ingredients, can that then affect the pH of how the area looks and how the area feels, to some extent?
Yes, of course. Some products, hygiene products, they do cause a disturbance in the pH balance. Hence, we advise, okay, the private areas, be it female or male, then advisably it's water, just clean water and soap, and avoid also perfumed products, avoid perfumed lotions, just water, clean water, warm water.
Yeah, and this will also, Sister B, go for the people that are also circumcised, the males that are also circumcised, right? I got you. Let's dive into now the STI first. If is it easy for STIs to infect someone who is circumcised? And then secondly, what are the risks? I think we touched on this when you said, when you speak about the risk of not being circumcised. So is the risk, easily, when you're not circumcised, would that person be prone more to getting STIs?
Yes, if uncircumcised, the risk are increased because the entry point, is easier, through the inner surface of the foreskin.
Yeah.
So if the foreskin is not there, then it also it reduces that risk, and also the head of the penis. It gets the glands. It gets that skin around there. If circumcised, it gets a little bit tougher. So then it's protected, through against the tears, any micro tears that can happen maybe during a sexual activity, which can also prevent entry point of infection.
I got you. Now, we spoke about the common risks. I want us to marry that to common STIs that someone would get who is not circumcised versus somebody who is then circumcised. So, what are those common STIs, and if circumcised, are they more common now? So, if you were to put somebody who's not circumcised and somebody who is, what are the common STIs they would be infected with versus somebody who is not, or perhaps maybe the risk would be but I'm getting from the conversation that the risks are not the same. You are lesser at risk if you're circumcised, but then more prone to risk if you're not. But let's talk common STIs and who then is more to get them.
Okay. They can get uncircumcised individuals can get like gonorrhea. So where the foreskin would be inflamed, they'll get inflammation of the foreskin. Also with the chancroid, that so it's almost similar to syphilis. Sometimes can be mistaken for syphilis. And also they can also get chlamydia, which can also cause urethral infections, the swelling of the testicles, the painful maturation. So this type of STIs, they are also circumcised clients are also they can also get them, but with the uncircumcised ones, hence I've mentioned, it increases the risk. So one of them more at risk of getting this compared to those uncircumcised. So this is more common.
You touched on gonorrhea, Sabi, and go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, because remember, it does good for skin. So if the foreskin, which in a way the predisposing causes it increases the risk, the predisposing factor, then if the foreskin is not there, then it also reduces the risk.
You touched on gonorrhea, and I remember I think we had when you spoke STI 101. I can't remember if it was with you or if it was with Sister Dibela, and we touched on common STIs or common STI as it is, and as we know them. How does it look? Luxolo, are you back?
Yes, I'm back, Bill.
You back? All right, Sister B. Sorry, I lost you a bit there. Let me just give you a
I
breather.
also did. I
Luxolo is
didn't
back.
I lost you a bit.
No, it's okay. Let's give you a breather there and give Luxolo a chance. Luxolo, I was talking with Sister B on some of the common STIs, and she was narrating some of them, and she touched on syphilis and gonorrhea. And for people that are not circumcised, well, they are more prone to that. But my question was, how do they look like, these STIs on the penile area? For somebody who has not seen them, let's just say I'm a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old. I've started experimenting with sex, and now I'm circumcised, and now I'm seeing things in the area. I don't know. Because maybe say let's okay, Luxolo. Luxolo. Okay. Luxolo is gone again. Sister B, let's talk about how they look like. A gonorrhea, how does it look like?
Okay. A gonorrhea will manifest with a penile discharge, ne? So the skin around the penis will be swollen, and also there will be a penile discharge. There'll be painful urination, and with the chancroid, it's a sore, ne? So it's an open sore, and it's draining. It's draining fluid. And it's also it's also can also transmitted, if maybe the fluid um it's like skin to skin contact. So if that fluid can be transmitted elsewhere, then it's also transmitted that way. Also chlamydia also is urethral an infection as well. So the swelling of the testicle is there, the painful micturition also is there, and also it can locate itself on the rectum, on the cervix, on the throat, on the urethra, for instance, maybe with oral sex as well. So the same with with syphilis. Syphilis also now with oral sex, it can also be transmitted on the mouth.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sister B, for that. Yeah.
So with syphilis and chancroid, it's hence I said it's almost similar, but then with the chancroid it's an open sore. But then with syphilis, it's kind of a form, a firm sore, and at times it's not even painful. It's just a painful sore. It's just a painless sore. And then with chlamydia and gonorrhea, so that's where we get to see that penile discharge and the painful micturition.
Interesting. So I guess immediately when I start to see all these symptoms that you've just mentioned, physically, I just have to go and get it checked out. Chances are, not even chances are, it could be a potential STI, and it could be either of those or more.
It could be a potential STI, and remember, with STI, it irritates the skin. There's excoriation, there's a source, and that also puts you one at a higher risk of HIV contraction. Now, that's an entry point. Remember, that open area or that excoriated area is an entry point for HIV.
Yeah, no, we need to check it out. I almost wanted to say, even if I see a little bit, a smaller pimple, I'm rushing to Okay, I need to check it out because we don't know what it is. If you just joined us, welcome to it. When we call this Clinical Monday, and Sister B has been kind enough this morning to give us a time to really dive deep into STI things. It's even starting now while we have this conversation. It's dipping in and out, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. What are some of your questions when it comes to STIs and being circumcised, or STIs in general, or circumcision in general? If you don't know, what is it that you would like to know or get clarity on? In terms of this conversation, Sister B is here to take out some of your questions. I'm looking at my time. We're left with so little time, and I still have a few questions that I want to go through. So let's just jump back straight into it. Sister B, I want now to put in the effect of PrEP or a layer, of talking about PrEP. Would then PrEP or ED PrEP be less effective when uncircumcised person uses it, as opposed to when you are circumcised, because the percentage in terms of being safe is 99% safe to protect you from HIV. So if you are not circumcised and you take PrEP, are those chances lessened to maybe 80% because now you are uncircumcised, or it still remains the same whether you're circumcised or not circumcised?
PrEP, but there's no difference in the effectiveness, whether circumcised or uncircumcised. Remember, PrEP reduces the risk of HIV infection. So it's still, if PrEP reduces the risk of HIV infection by 99%, so it still will reduce the risk of HIV infection by 99% if you are uncircumcised. However, that foreskin which is there, it increases the chances. So it's like, in a way, it's working against the PrEP. So but then there's no difference. So
I've got
PrEP
you.
is still very much effective in uncircumcised clients as much as it is in circumcised.
I got you. I want to talk about, we touched back on we spoke about this in terms of symptoms and how they look like. Now I want to talk about how soon do you see the infection. So I have sex with someone this afternoon. Let's say I'm uncircumcised or they are uncircumcised. I have an STI, or one of us is carrying an STI. How quickly, would how quickly would the STI show in my body? And then I think we touched on different kinds of STIs, and where you can see them in the throat if it's oral sex. So how quickly after, or how soon after the sexual engagement, then would I see the symptoms of these STIs on my body? Sister B?
Okay, I think I did get you because I lost you, Dangan. So it differs, with our STIs, so it would take, about it's days, a few days to a week, 2 weeks. For some STIs, they may manifest, within a few days, they say their symptoms, and some they take weeks, so it's anything between 2 days, up to 3 weeks, sometimes with other STIs, at times with syphilis, it can take even up to almost a month, because one can have syphilis and not even know they have syphilis until maybe the blood test can come back and say they do have syphilis. So some STIs can be asymptomatic, but then with the other ones, they take a few days, 2 days, 14 days, 10 days, a week, or maybe up to 3 weeks sometimes too.
I want to then talk about it's sex anyway, but I wanted to talk about then oral sex versus anal sex, but I think we've answered that. Let's jump into the misconceptions that people do have about or around circumcision, or some of the common scares that people have around circumcision. If you have maybe bumped into any or heard of any in your field, what are those?
Yeah. That's so, it would be inability to impregnate, a female partner. That would feel fine if I'm uncircumcised. Somehow a client would feel it would impact on their sperm count. So they wouldn't be able. It wouldn't be as easy to impregnate their female partner. Also, some believe it cures HIV. Once you're circumcised, you're cured from HIV. Yes, and abanye bathi it's a painful procedure. Yes, the pain will be there after the procedure, but during the procedure, there's you don't feel anything. Yeah, so it's just taking care of the sore, the wound after the procedure, so the pain will be there. And of course, analgesia will be given to manage that pain. And also hygiene. So other clients would believe Gucci if they but they think Gucci the foreskin is because it's covering the glands. So it's sort of protecting them from infections. So it's a covering that protects them from infections. Whereas it's the opposite, when it's there. Yeah. It's so yeah. So it's but those are misconceptions that we with every health talk, we especially we screen clients and then find out if they're circumcised or not, and then if not, then we recommend circumcision, and also try to address these misconceptions before the clients even before the clients can, because you don't even know why the client is still uncircumcised. Some they wouldn't even say. So when you recommend circumcision, then you also address this kind of misconception, so that if the client has any, then they will know, this is the way to go. Circumcision is not as bad as I thought it is. Because
you ask these you ask these questions on your screening tools, or when you then screen a client, and I have seen it to ask if you are circumcised or not circumcised. I think that is a probing question for them, because then you are able to gauge, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're able to gauge if this client is at risk of STIs, or even STIs including HIV, because I think sometimes we separate the two. But if the client is at risk of STIs, including HIV.
Yes, we are, because remember, if a client would present and say they are uncircumcised, then their risk of contracting HIV is even more higher. Yes, so that's when you dwell more on this health talk to try and recommend even circumcision.
Listen, two more last questions. The first one is, I want to ask this last though, but let me ask this first. What are the worst case scenarios if STI is left untreated? It doesn't matter if it's of a circumcised individual or not. What are the worst case scenarios that one can undergo if they lift an STI untreated?
With STIs, I can say it's the generalized maybe misconception that that STIs affect only the private area, the sexual areas. But then if those STIs are not treated, then they can cause other problems in the body, not only on the private area. Like syphilis, for instance. Syphilis can go as far as causing blindness if it goes untreated. It could cause kidney damage. You see, so with gonorrhea can even cause dermatitis if it goes for that long, not being untreated. And then others, they cause infertility. There's chronic pelvic pain, infertility, with arthritis as well. Sometimes arthritis is caused by untreated STIs. So you can see all these, challenges that now you have other medical conditions which were caused by STIs which went untreated. So you can imagine if now I go blind or I have a kidney problem which is caused by an STI.
Yeah. Hectic. Last question, and then I'm going to let you go. To circumcise or not to circumcise? That is the big question. How would you advise on that?
Definitely to circumcise, V. Definitely to circumcise. I am team, circumcision. Definitely to circumcise. Because it's a package. It's a package. Just one procedure, and it reduces a whole lot of other problems. So you reduce your chances of HIV infection, your chances of STIs infection, your chances of contracting HPV and passing it on to your partner, and that partner can have cervical cancer, the chances of a penile cancer itself. So it's just a package, which is one procedure, but then you reduce the risk of a whole lot of different things.
Yeah. Listen, Sister B, I really appreciate you and I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for coming through the stream and educating us when it comes to circumcision and STI. I hope I'm going to see you sometime later, possibly maybe to discuss yet another clinical topic. But until then, man, happy Monday and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, V. You have a great day, Heather.
Alrighty. That is the Sister Benedictor Nhlapho from Oram Club in Zeni joining us to speak to us about STIs and to speak to us about circumcision. Also,